Hey, how you ladies and gents doing? This is Trigger here, bringing you another Trigger Tuesday. This is a custom match that I did with my Crow Clan buddies, and we usually play them on Sunday nights. We played 9 bots against 3 of us, so that's 2/3 more enemies than friendlies. So yeah, we played this in domination match, and we did pretty well. What I wanted to talk about today was sportsmanship. And I want to really get down into the nitty-gritty of things and really talk a little bit about, how this game goes, the game flow, sportsmanship in general, sportsmanship, as far as, other things are concerned, and, some topics about that. So what I want to start off by saying is that sportsmanship has always been kind of a key thing in games. And some people will say, well, this is a video game. Yes, it's a video game, but the title game is still in there, so it still applies. And here's the thing, and I'll probably talk about a few different things. You can banter me back and forth about what you think, but I'm gonna get into what it used to be like, and when I was younger, and I used to watch baseball, football, basketball. And I had the playing cards and everything, and I used to play a lot of those games. And there were times where people would have bad sportsmanship, where you go to congratulate the winning team, and they get a smirk on their face, and they say that you suck or something like that. Those things happen. That's bad sportsmanship, and that also translates in this game too. People do that in this game. They win, they beat you. You tried your best, but you just couldn't beat them. For whatever reason. And, they sort of slap you in the face, metaphorically speaking, because they're like, oh, you suck, you need to try harder. Well, you can't win every single game. The only people that could possibly win every single game would be those that have the amazing connection in the world. They got their eyes glued to the screen. They've got, either that, a modded controller, they could be hacking. Any of those reasons could be. There are some pretty good players out there. I will grant that. But, the thing is, with sportsmanship, you really need to try to focus on being a good sport. Even in this game, it really does count, because there's a lot of random people out there, and you'll say, well, I'm never going to see this person, so it doesn't matter. But you are affecting that person, whether you see them or not. You're affecting their life, because you are teaching them, in a way, to not care, to not worry about what you say and what you do. You're really, dragging down the morale that the human race has with that, and that really is not something most people want to see or take part of, because it's just the same with, with sports games. People don't want to see that. They don't want to see, Sua, kicking one of the Packers on the ground when he's on the ground, and then getting up and then, saying, oh, he's just trying to get up, when they've got it on a replay. They don't want to see stuff like that. And, people get fined. Even when, I was watching the Packers play against, I believe it was the Patriots at the time. I think Randy Moss was on the Patriots. Well, he is. I think he still is. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't really looked at the, the stats for the Patriots and the roster. But when he was on their team and he pretended to moon the Packers team when they beat them once, or he got a touchdown, I can't remember exactly what it was, he pretended to moon all the fans in the crowd. He got fined for that, because people do not want to see that. They want to see some type of punishment come for those that have bad sportsmanship. Now, you can't really get a lot of punishment here, except for getting banned if you are hacking. But, the thing is, it really doesn't help anybody. It just makes you look like an ass. And some people that may want to be friends with you, they may want to befriend you because they don't want to get trolled. They don't want to be in that situation. They might want to be with you so they don't get trolled. There's a lot of people that go out there and they just follow someone that's sort of like a tyrant, so that person will not, be a tyrant to them. And that does happen. Another thing about like this game, especially in comparison to like some of the baseball players that would juice up, and it was considered they were cheating, and there was debate whether their card value was worth anything or not, because they were cheating and they got their stats by cheating. But, there's a lot of people who say they still have the stats. But, that's kind of a controversial thing. Here, though, people complain about camping and about rushing. I'll get into that in a second. But really, in this game, there's a lot of, hardcore stuff that can be considered, cheating. Like, if you are trying to cap a flag, you're trying to get a flag, put in a position, for capture or defending, or you're trying to blow up a bomb or defend a bomb or something like that, and someone kills you so that they can cap the flag or defuse the bomb, something like that happens, that's bad sportsmanship. That's cheating. I mean, that's a cheating that you could do, and that isn't good at all to do, because you are ruining the team's effort to get the win. Even if the other enemy team is starting to spawn on the other side, you don't know if there's an enemy near you, and you just killed someone that could help you fight the enemy, but then you get killed off, and then they get the bomb on you. That sort of thing can happen. But doing stuff like that, irregardless, you are just playing for yourself. You're killing someone on your team so that you can get those points to to blow up that bomb, to cap that flag. You're doing it for your own personal gain. And someone else could have done it. They could be on a score streak that could be very high. That could help the team. They could be on a Lodestar, Swarm, VTOL, something big. They could even be on a UAV that could help you out. It doesn't matter. Once you do something like that, you're just playing for yourself. You're not playing for the team. And if you're really trying to play for the team, you cannot do that. There's instances where you can get called out for shooting a teammate or something. But if you're shooting at an enemy and you accidentally shoot a teammate because they run right by it the very second that you're shooting at an enemy, there's really nothing you can do about it. There really isn't anything you can do about it. And there's times you might even get kicked from the game because your teammates decide to run out in front of you like crazy. They just want to run out in front of you every single time, not check to see what you're doing or which way you're facing, and go out and get killed, and you get kicked. So those things happen. Is that fair to you? No, not necessarily fair to you. I mean, you're not trying to, but for those that do try to team kill, just to get some extra points, that is pretty horrible. That's bad sportsmanship. It's just downright bad. Nobody wants that. Nobody really is going to want to play with you if you do that, because then they don't know when they're going to get killed. They might not necessarily want to put on a high score streak because they're like, oh, I'm playing with this guy, he's probably going to team kill me. I'm just going to put on a UAV or a counter UAV or something. I'm not going to get to do what I want to do. I can't play the way I want to play because my teammate's going to eventually shoot me. You don't want that. It doesn't make any sense. So that's bad sportsmanship. As far as camping and rushing, and waiting in a corner for a second, reloading, that sort of thing, this is war, and the fact that we're not using swords still means that there really isn't any real fair play to come about. You really cannot play perfectly fair like people feel like they can. I think it may be an instinctive thing that comes through the genes to feel like you need to play fair, because for the longest time, when we did have war against each other, at first it was fists, and then it was bones, and then knives, and then swords, and then cannons and guns. But for the longest time in our history, it's always been more of a hand-to-hand combat. That's why a lot of people want to see rushing. But the fact that you have a long-range weapon means that you're not always going to be in that short-range engagement. You're just not. You're going to be in a long-range engagement most of the time. And if they want to make this a small, close-to-close, hand-to-hand type thing, just run around with a knife, But you're still at a disadvantage because everyone else has a gun. If you're really worried about, getting those close-range engagements, play a game where you're using a sword or a hand-to-hand combat weapon, because this is not that game. This is a long-range engagement type of game. You can use a shotgun if you want to do close-range stuff, but you can't expect everyone to play short range. If people are playing and they have a long-range weapon, they're going to use it long-range, more than likely. They're not going to use their long-range weapon for short-range engagements all day long every day. You're just not. I mean, you can watch this game and see me using a shotgun because, yeah, I'm holding down B. I'm trying to hold this position, and then I've got my SCAR for some long-range stuff. So I'm not going to, stay there and, if I decided to stay in a corner because I felt I was going to be ambushed by 6 or 7 people, and I'm going to hold a choke point where I can hold it easily, I'm going to do it because that's going to help me get the team win. It doesn't matter whether you feel it's fair or not. That's just the way life is. There's times where I feel I need to stay in a corner and wait for someone because I just have a feeling they're going to come rushing out there. And it usually 90% of the time ends up happening that way. I've got a gut feeling, it ends up happening. And, as far as those people that want to stay in the really far corners and camp, maybe they're working on an emblem. Maybe they're trying to get a bloodthirsty. Maybe they just can't play that well. You really don't know all the time. Does it feel fair? No, it doesn't feel fair. Does it feel fair when I'm in a gunfight and I'm, trying to beat them and they beat me even though that I could see I've got more hit markers on them, first than what they've gotten into? To shoot against me if I'm in a really close range gun engagement and I feel I should have won. Does that feel fair? No, that doesn't feel fair at all. Does it feel fair for someone to be far away and snipe me from a distance? No. Almost nothing feels fair. Does it feel fair to get killed by a hunter killer? No, because the fact is the hunter killer, even with flak jacket, doesn't protect you from a hunter killer all the time. But a lodestar, a flak jacket will protect you from a lodestar missile, which a lodestar missile is astronomically 2 or 3 times bigger than a hunter-killer missile, or than a hunter-killer explosive, and that doesn't make any sense. But is that fair? I don't feel that that's fair, but that's a part of the game. So whatever's naturally a part of the game, that's what's going to happen. You can't expect everyone to play exactly like you. You can't expect everyone to play running around with a shotgun, running around with a light machine gun, running around with a sniper, running around with a submachine gun. Everyone wants to play a different style. And the fact that this is war, and in war, usually ambush and surprise, work over, a fair gunfight. And you're going to hear a lot of other commentators say the same thing too. You don't want to go into a fair fight. You don't want to go into a fair fight where you're fighting against someone, because the fact is, if you run into the spawn and there's 3 enemies in the spawn, and you are, fighting them head to head, well, they might, one of them each might shoot 1 bullet at you, and so those 3 bullets that hit you are going to knock you out. But you try to shoot at one guy, you may knock one guy out, but they're going to win overall. So the fact is, playing dirty in a game like this, where you're camping sometimes, you're moving around, you're trying to ambush, surprise the enemy, you're never really in a fair gunfight, is usually going to work on your advantage. And, as far as that goes, you really can't say there's, bad sportsmanship or cheating. I mean, people may not like it, but that's just the way this game goes. If this was a medieval game where you had to run up with swords and actually duel it out and try to use some skill with that, that would actually be more of a fair fight, because you each have the close range, you can see it coming, you can get in there, you can work on it. But in here, there's so many instances where even if you're fighting one guy facing one way and you feel he had a good fight, someone will shoot you from the back and you couldn't see them coming. It's just the way it is. So as far as sportsmanship goes, really try to have some good sportsmanship. Really try to, work with your team members and really try to do that well. And you should have fun. And that should, be something that you should look forward to. Yeah, that's just what I want to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.